welcome to Always Alyssa. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This video has been in high demand for a long time, so I am really excited to make it for you guys. Months and months ago, I made this whale shark out of cardboard. I made so many TikToks about it and posted a couple of them here on YouTube, and I had so many comments asking, how did you make that? Can you do an in-depth tutorial so I can make one too? I just kept on replying to you guys, yes, I will do a tutorial as soon as I have time. It should be coming in the next few weeks, don't worry. But then we got busy, so I didn't actually have time to do it. But don't worry, the wait is finally over because today I will be teaching you how to make a cardboard sea creature. And by the way, in case you hadn't already seen, I actually have two cardboard sea creatures already, my whale shark and then my blacktip reef shark. The sea creature I will be giving the tutorial on today will be an orca whale. I guess I was kind of inspired because we went to Alaska recently and we did get to see a wild pod of orcas, and that was like the coolest thing. Anyways, the shapes of all sharks, whales, and dolphins are relatively similar though, so you can still use this video as a tutorial if you wanted to make a different sea creature, like maybe some kind of other whale or shark. But knowing all these basic steps and how to make it is going to help you a lot. So let's get started. The first thing you need to know are what materials are going to be used in this type of project. I wrote them all down here on my little planning sheet. We'll go into more detail on this later. Anyways, the materials you're going to need are, of course, cardboard, that's the main one, then hot glue, scissors, tape, a pencil and an eraser, Mod Podge, newspaper, paintbrushes, paint in whatever color your sea creature is, and then a nail file. For that last one, you're probably like, wait, why do I need a nail file? That is so weird. I'll tell you why. We're gonna be using a nail file instead of sandpaper because they're pretty similar and there are some parts in this project where you're gonna need to sand down the surface a little bit. But if you have sandpaper, then that'll work too. This is the Mod Podge I will be using, but you can also make your own using just glue and water. As far as cardboard goes, I would recommend something pretty thin like a cereal box. That's what I'm going to be using for some of this because it's very, very flexible, so that's really nice for this kind of project. But you can use thicker like box material. Just be careful because it's going to be pretty difficult to cut. Now I'm going to move over to my desk and we'll get started. This is the other planning sheet that I have. It's a bunch of sketches of an orca and I'm going to use this as my main reference. This is the kind of shape that I'll be going for because with the fins at the same level, it will be able to stand on like a desk or a surface. The easiest way to do this is to look up a top view picture of your animal like I did here. I just copied it onto this paper and then you're going to use that as your reference to sketch out on the cardboard and that will be your base. Now it's time to start sketching. Once you're happy with your shape, you can go ahead and cut that out, but just be careful and cut maybe a little outside of your lines just in case. Now that my shape is all cut out, I think I am still going to add 1 or 2 more thin layers of cardboard to this just to make it a little bit more sturdy. Now that I've added a second layer of cardboard to this to make it a little bit more sturdy, I'm going to start tracing out the shapes of all the fins. Now we're going to sketch the shape of the tail fluke. Now that I have finished cutting out all of the shapes for the fins and the tail, I'm going to set them aside. and I'm going to start molding this piece of cardboard into the shape I want it. You can see I already kind of started on that. I'm trying to make it kind of a curved shape that's going to go up, and then the tail is going to be angled down, kind of like my little reference picture that I have here. So I'm going to try to do that. Just bend it ever so slightly, but not too much, or you could just break the cardboard. So be really careful on this part. I'm just really carefully going in there like this and making small little marks to try to bend it just slightly. I've been working at this for a while now, and I think that this is a pretty good shape. Right now I'm trying to sketch out the shape of the body, because when I'm done with that, I will cut out the two pieces and put them on top of here and on top of here, basically to make it like 3D. I know that might be a little hard to explain, but once I start to do it, you'll see what I mean. And I'm still working on this shape, which is basically the side profile of an orca, and I'm trying to make sure that it will be able to stand up on a desk or something. So that means it has to have at least 2 points of contact, so like right here and then right here where the tail is going to be. So right now, I'm just kind of adjusting it to make sure it's good. It's still not perfectly how I want it, but I did draw in the fin and some of the white markings just to help me visualize a little bit what it's going to look like. Now, in order to start making this look a little bit more 3D, I'm going to glue this belly piece on to the middle, like this. So when you turn it to the side, it'll be kind of 3D. Alright, we now have the belly glued on. I'll give you a full view of this. It's still drying a little bit, but this is what it looks like so far. And next I will be putting on the back. Now I have glued on the top of the whale, and it's already starting to look so much more like an orca. We've got all the sides on now. First was this bottom plate, and now we have these two side plates. For this next part, we are basically going to be cutting out pieces that will connect the top of the orca to the side of the orca for all four sides. So as you can see, I already have my first little piece cut out here, and let me show you exactly how I did it. See how that fits perfectly? So basically, you're just gonna wanna grab a piece like this, hold it up, see how I kind of drew the pencil markings of where it fits? You'll do that, and then you'll cut off the excess. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I just finished the other side, and it's looking pretty good so far. I am satisfied. All I have to do now is the belly area. I am now finished with about 75% of the whale's body, and it's looking pretty cool. I've gotten some progress on this side. This part is optional, but right now I'm just crumbling up some bits of newspaper and stuffing it inside. Now it is time to start gluing on the tail and the fins. I have just added on the dorsal fin, and it's looking pretty good. The next step for our cardboard orca is to cover the entire thing in a layer of masking tape. Here's the progress. Here's some more progress. Here's another update, and now it is all finished with the tape, and it's looking super cool. The next step in making this cardboard sea creature is to use Mod Podge, and I'll show you guys exactly how to do it. All you're going to need for this is Mod Podge. You can get it at any craft store, or you can even make it homemade with a mixture of glue and water. Then you're going to need a paintbrush, of course, not one that's too big though, or too small, just kind of a medium size is perfect like this. And then a bunch of random newspapers. Newspapers that you can find at like any grocery store or any random place. Just get a bunch of those, they're always free, so that's what's kind of nice about this. And then you're going to just cut them up. And we're going to end up cutting them into just a bunch of small random pieces to cover the orca with. Something I learned from previous projects though is that if you just cut the paper and do all the Mod Podge, you might end up seeing some of these harsh lines. So if you rip it, it kind of gets a softer edge, and that will make for a more like smooth finish, I guess. Hopefully I explained that well, but anyways, just start ripping up all your pieces. Another reason that we're doing newspaper and Mod Podge on this project is because once it actually dries up, it kind of creates like this hard shell, which really helps for the durability of the project. I will give you guys an example of how this works, and then I'm probably just going to do all of it in a time lapse. So basically, you're just going to get your brush, get a little bit of Mod Podge on it, brush that on the tape like so, and then you're going to place on your piece of newspaper and then put a little bit more glue on top and just brush that out, and then repeat the process. And it's okay if the pieces overlap a little bit. You're just gonna kind of keep that up. Here's what it looks like now that I have finished the Mod Podge. I might add a few more little touch-ups and whatever, but this is basically what it looks like on this step. I think it actually does look pretty cool, and I am liking it. And as you can see, it's a little bit more firm now. Obviously, there are going to be a few small imperfections, if you can see that, especially when you're using this type of like newspaper, but not to worry, because on the next step we will be fixing that using some nail files. Before I ended up sanding it down, I actually decided last minute I was gonna add a few more layers of the newspaper and Mod Podge, and that made it a lot more sturdy. The next step for making our cardboard sea creature is to sand down any rough spots there are on the entire project, and you can use either a nail file or actual sandpaper. Some good news, guys, I actually did end up finding some actual sandpaper, so that's what I've been using on this, and it actually works really well. Once your cardboard orca is all sanded and dusted off, it is time to give it a layer of white paint. The next thing we're going to do is mark off all the places where black meets white on the orca. The next step is to paint all of the black spots in on the orca. This is almost done. I'm just kind of touching up the eye area and the mouth area because it's not totally straight yet, and then once I do that, it will be done. I'm going to let it dry in my garage for about 24 hours. Guys, I just finished my cardboard orca and I think it looks so amazing. I'm absolutely loving it. Here's a few more angles. I think even though it took me so long to do, it was so worth it. Guys, I had so much fun making this cardboard orca, even if it took me so long. I think it was so worth it and I love it so much. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!